A study followed 72,000 people for 8 years. The ones most likely to have a heart attack weren't the ones sleeping too little. They were the ones sleeping on a different schedule every single night, and most of them had no idea it was a problem. Doctors used to think there was only one bedtime rule that mattered: get 7 to 9 hours. That's it. Hit the number, protect your heart. They were wrong. Because when researchers tracked over 70,000 adults for almost 8 years, they found something that had nothing to do with how long people slept. It was about something almost nobody thinks to check. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly where you fall on that scale. Here's the habit almost everyone has without realizing it. Weekday alarm at 6:30. Weekend sleep in until 9. Bed by 10 on Sunday, bed by 1 a.m. on Friday. Sound familiar? Most people would call that normal, flexible, human. Researchers call it something else: sleep irregularity. And it turns out your heart keeps score, even when you don't. For decades, cardiologists focused almost entirely on sleep duration. How many hours you get. Get enough, you're fine. Get too little, you're at risk. Simple. But here's where things get interesting. When scientists at the University of Ottawa and King's College London pulled data from the UK Biobank, one of the largest health databases on Earth, they weren't just measuring how much people slept. They were measuring when. And what they found didn't just add a footnote to the sleep duration theory. It challenged the whole idea. People with the most irregular sleep wake times, different bedtimes, different wake times, night after night, had a meaningfully higher risk of a major cardiovascular event: heart attack, stroke, heart failure. But here's the part that shocked even the researchers. This held true even for people who were getting the recommended 7 to 9 hours. Getting enough sleep didn't cancel out the risk. The clock mattered as much as the hours on it. Stay with me, because the number behind this is bigger than you'd expect, and it's coming up in a minute. Picture two people. Both sleep 7.5 hours a night on average. Both would tell you their sleep is fine. Person A goes to bed at 10:30 and wakes at 6 every day, weekday or weekend, like clockwork. Person B goes to bed at 10 on Tuesday, WEM on Friday, 11 on Sunday. Same total hours across the week. Completely different pattern. On paper, in any sleep tracking app, they look identical. Same average, same score. But according to this data, they are not carrying the same risk. Not even close. Here's what's actually going on inside you. Your heart doesn't just pump blood on demand. It runs on a rhythm. Blood pressure, heart rate, hormone release, even how your blood vessels contract and relax, all of it is coordinated by your circadian clock, the same internal system that tells you when to feel sleepy and when to wake up. Every time you shift your sleep schedule, you're not just being flexible. You're asking your cardiovascular system to reset its rhythm over and over. And a heart that's constantly resetting doesn't get the stable, predictable recovery window it's built for. That's the mechanism researchers believe is at play. Not exhaustion, disruption. Now here's the part I promised you. In the UK Biobank study, people with the most irregular sleep patterns had roughly a 26% higher risk of a major cardiovascular event compared to those with the steadiest schedules. And in a separate, earlier study funded by the National Institutes of Health tracking adults aged 45 to 84, the most irregular sleepers were almost twice as likely to develop cardiovascular disease over 5 years, even after accounting for sleep apnea and other health factors. Twice. Not from sleeping badly. From sleeping unpredictably now. To be fair, this is what scientists call an association, not proof of direct cause and effect. Researchers can't run an experiment where they force thousands of people to have chaotic sleep for years just to watch what happens. What they can do is track real people living real lives. And the pattern that keeps showing up across multiple independent studies now is too consistent to ignore. This isn't fear-mongering. It's a genuine blind spot in how most of us think about sleep health. Here's something that didn't make most headlines. The link between irregular sleep and heart disease risk was found to be even stronger in certain populations, including older adults, and in the NIH-funded study, notably stronger among Black participants compared to white participants, which raises an uncomfortable question public health researchers are only beginning to unpack. Is an entire population being told to just sleep 8 hours, when the more important instruction was never given at all? You might be expecting something complicated. It isn't. Sleep researchers involved in this work gave a strikingly simple recommendation: your bedtime and wake time don't need to be identical every day. They just need to stay within about 30 to 60 minutes of your usual schedule. That's the target, not perfection. Consistency, small variation your body handles fine. It's the wild swings, 3, 4, 5 hours off from one night to the next, that your cardiovascular system struggles to absorb. Think about what actually causes those wild swings. It's rarely one big decision. It's small, repeated choices, staying up, just one more episode, sleeping in to catch up on the weekend, letting Friday night bleed into Saturday morning. Every one of those feels harmless in the moment, but your heart doesn't experience them as isolated events. It experiences them as a pattern. And patterns are exactly what your circadian rhythm is built to track. Here's the part that really reframes everything. Catching up on sleep over the weekend, something most of us treat as a smart recovery strategy, is, according to this research, itself a form of the exact irregularity linked to higher risk. The habit we've been taught to see as self-care might be quietly working against the very thing we're trying to protect. So here's my honest question for you. When was the last time you actually looked at your bedtime? Not how many hours you slept, but what time you started. Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one, and I'm genuinely curious how wild everyone's schedule actually is. If this changed the way you think about sleep, hit like. It helps this reach someone who needs to hear it before their next one more episode turns into 1 a.m. And subscribe, because next week I'm covering the other sleep habit doctors say is even more overlooked than this one. Sleep well, on time,